Good evening and welcome to Slam the Gavel, the show that tells it all regarding family court, other court issues, as well as CPS. I'm your host, Maryann Petri, and today I have a return guest on. Her name is Claire Wirth. She is the former Kentucky Congressional Candidate, and she came back onto the show because we have found this national breaking story regarding a mother who is a pediatrician who was driven to snap due to the corrupt justice system in Louisville, Kentucky, and a biased judge called Denise Brown. And we have a lot to discuss on this podcast. And essentially, the story was she had these children in vitro, married a guy later, and then they divorced. The judge essentially gave him her own children that aren't even his. So I welcome you to the show. Claire, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you for having me.
I'm glad to have you on. What have you learned from all what you have heard?
I'm sick, right? I mean, I can handle anything in politics. I can handle corrupt politicians, greedy backroom deals. I can handle all that. When it comes to children, I don't fare well. I take my gloves off and get mad. And that says a lot because, I ran against somebody who sent out fake mailers to 80,000 people telling lies about me, and I was able to laugh. When it comes to children, not laughing. I'm angry. I'm mad that one side of the story about Stephanie Russell is being told. It's disgusting. And so, the media, the fake news media has ran with a narrative that's simply just not true. It's simply just not true. There's a lot going on here, and we are going to unpack it. I am one of a handful of people, and I mean less than 5 people that know what's going on with Stephanie Russell, that knows what's going on with this case. And I am more than happy to give everyone the scoop about what's really going on, because I will always fight for justice, for what is right, even when it's difficult, even when there's nobody else there, because somebody has to do what's right. At some point, there has to be truth tellers, and I would be more than happy to be one of them. So let's get started about what happened with Stephanie Russell.
Mm-hmm.
So Stephanie Russell, Valley Victorian, great student, went through med school, got married later in life, married a man who was a little bit older than she was. Okay, so he could no longer have children. So she decides to have in vitro. So there's a sperm donor involved here. So she flies to New York. He never accompanied her, not one time. And she did end up losing 2 of the, in vitro is very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
She ended up losing 2 of those babies, but 2 successfully was able to have 2 successful pregnancies. So she had the first baby, and then after a divorce, gave birth to the second baby, both with the sperm donors, not her husband or ex-husband's child at all. Okay. So I think that's what people have no idea, that these are not even his kids. This is a little bit of an older gentleman, not exactly fit or knows how to raise little ones at all. Okay. So we'll start there. Stephanie had hired many au pairs, right? They come in, they come out to help raise these children. She had a full-time practice. I don't know how many au pairs had to be let go or quit because they were, there was allegations of sexual abuse towards them from Stephanie's ex-husband. So we have that going on. And then we have this divorce going on. And we have, the ex-husband fighting for custody. So that's what the crux of this all is. And we need to remember, okay, so I am a foster parent. Right now, I'm not a foster parent. I need to relicense, but I have been a foster parent or respite provider. So I've seen a lot go on. So I have a lot of outside perspective about abuse, about child abuse, about a lot of things. So we'll start there. Stephanie was in, her case was tried in Louisville, Kentucky. The judge's name is Denise Brown. Justice Denise Brown has a history of, taking children and putting them in abusive households, and she targets women, and usually successful women. There is a whole Facebook dedicated to Justice Denise Brown, living the nightmare of Judge Brown. So anyone is able to look at that on Facebook, with a litany of families that have just suffered through this hell that Stephanie has had to endure for over a year.
Definitely.
It's sick.
And this judge apparently is on TikTok teaching makeup and nails and beauty skills. What judge does this?
One that simply does not care, right? She uses her courtroom. I'm not sure what happened. I don't know why. I don't know why this judge acts the way she does, but there's something wrong here, and the dots need to be connected, and somebody is going to have to step in, because we've had, so many lawyers, so many people have come in. We've complained to the bar about the judge, and nothing ever happens. And who do you go to? The judge is the decider. There is nothing after that. And this case was being taken to appeals court when Stephanie snapped. So let's talk about this. So Judge Brown took Stephanie's kids to the point where she was not allowed to even see her children. And when they finally, after months, and these are two very small children, mind you, very small children, when she was finally able to see them again, she was under supervision, she was like, I don't even care. I just want to see my kids. One of these supervisors was a sheriff. Okay. Let me tell you about this. Stephanie had left, and the little child, I'm not even going to say it's a boy or girl, because it's, this is a very sensitive case. These are young children. Disclosed to the sheriff how badly the child was being abused. Just told the sheriff everything. Okay. The sheriff writes it all down and goes and has it notarized, appears in court, and the judge throws it out. So many pediatricians, psychologists, so many of them have all of these records of the kids, crying and saying all of these, just disclosing everything that's happened to them. And the judge throws them out. And the judge has, a GAL. The GAL is working very closely with the father's attorney. There was a request for a new GAL. Nope, judge would not give into that. We even asked for for the judge to recuse herself because she was showing a bias. Nope, judge wouldn't do that. Judge wouldn't recuse the GAL, wouldn't do that. Anything. Stephanie is treated like a criminal, not allowed to see her kids. I mean, nothing ever. She was treated so poorly. And I don't know how many attorneys we talked to that said, I've never seen anything like this in my life, ever.
And it's allowed to continue. And well, it's been a very upsetting weekend for me since you had told me all of this. I mean, I just can't get over this madness. And the thing is, I was thinking, as we talked earlier, that now she's in a federal prison. So now she's considered a criminal. And I've heard parents in family court say, we can't see our kids, but criminals can. I think they should start a reunification process for Stephanie and her children.
Right. And it feels like what's wrong will be right, and what's right will be wrong, right? Like what hope is there for Stephanie? What hope is there? She's done all of the right things. I've been a foster parent, respite provider, very involved in the community. I have seen parents who have beaten their kids with an inch of their life. I have seen parents who are doing crack cocaine on the coffee room table, right? And CPS gets involved, and then I get involved because CPS is involved. And these kids are returned to their parents. Stephanie is a doctor, and they have treated her like a criminal, and she's not. And for those that are saying, oh, we're really quick to judge, aren't we? But we need to remember, you need to put yourself in other people's shoes. And that's a big problem that's going on right now. How would you feel if this was you? If your kids were being taken away and disclosing abuse, and not just, a slap on the wrist. I mean, there's allegations of very serious abuse. There's been audio that you've listened to and I've listened to that would make anyone's stomach turn if they listen to this. If you listen to this audio that we have, you would be so angry. You would be just as angry as we are. And we have this mother who knows this. You know, she's concerned, and she's in a prison cell right now, locked up. You know, she's in a small room right now, a small concrete room in a vest, and there's no toilet in there. There's a drain on the floor for her. She's being watched, and she knows this is happening to her. This is not justice. This is not fair. This is not normal. This is not okay. And it is not okay that the public, you know, doesn't have all the facts. They have facts from a judge who has badly, you know, abused her courtroom, who has badly, you know, taken advantage of so many families that are, I mean, nobody's hiding it. There's Facebook page after Facebook page. There's all these families that have been abused by Judge Brown. And I think that's fair to say that they've been abused. If anyone's child was taken away the way her children were taken away, or so many families' children were taken away, and you have to watch this, and there's not much you can do because judges in the end have all the power. How is that not abuse?
Well, when I had talked to Stephanie maybe 2 months ago, she had told me that when she did see her child, the child had a busted lip. And she also told me that the judge was, she was thinking the judge was getting ready to force her to sign over her 401k to the ex-husband.
Her retirement. Yep. And the children, and we're not, okay, so I think that the other facts of this puzzle that people need to know is that this man is not poor. He has way more money than Stephanie does. Way more. I know she's a pediatrician, and you know, pediatricians make good money. He makes considerably more money than she does. And he wants her retirement. He wants, you know, he wants it all. He wants the kids' Schwab accounts. He wants everything. And he had told her that I am going to make your life hell. And that's what he's doing. He's not going to stop until she's destroyed. And this poor woman is sitting in a prison cell right now, completely and utterly destroyed. And before we judge someone, it's so easy to judge, isn't it? It's so easy to judge somebody. Put yourself in her shoes. What would mothers not do for their children? What she did was not right. Let's start by saying that. Violence is never okay. I don't condone it. She shouldn't have done what she did. She definitely should not have done what she did. But can you understand it? Can you understand it? If I knew this isn't not even my child that this is happening to, and I am livid. Livid. I mean, let's put this in perspective, guys. I lost a congressional race. I lost a congressional race, and I was laughing like the night of the election. I was like, oh man, I'm fine. This is not funny. And if you're not mad as hell, then you're not paying attention, because this could be you. This could be your neighbor. This could be your cousin. This could happen to you. The justice system is completely failed because there is zero oversight for these judges. They get away with absolutely anything. When your life is in the hands of the judicial system, you're screwed. There is no justice. You're at the mercy of the court, and they don't understand or don't care to understand, or they can be paid off, or a million different things. That's a problem. That's a problem. And that's not how our founders meant it to be. So something is going to have to happen, because right now there is an innocent woman sitting in prison. And likely, I'm not saying more a matter of fact, but I'm saying likely she was coaxed into the situation that she's in now, which is completely disgusting.
I think, people are pushed to the brink of many things. I think she had just had it. And, it's It's pathetic. I saw her mugshot, and she had her right hand
It's
over.
covered the emblem of her.
Yeah, so sad. Because when we had talked last, she told me that her ex stated that he would destroy her practice. He was
Mm-hmm.
going to destroy, you know.
That as well. Yep. And he did.
Uh,
He did. But there is silver lining. So I know this is all very heavy and it's absolutely brutal to listen to. But there is silver lining. So I did, take to my social media, because what other outlet do I have, right? I might as well use my platform that I have and get, hey, this is what's really going on. So many high-end attorneys have reached out to me. I've had media reach out to me. There are a lot of people that know what's really going on with Stephanie Russell that have reached out to me. And I was supposed to talk to her this morning, and that wasn't able to happen. But so I'm going to talk to her tomorrow morning. She only gets 2 phone calls a week. So I will be talking to her tomorrow morning and just letting her know that there are people that hear you, and there are people that care, and there's people that care about your children, and it's everyone's job to care. It's our job to not be selfless. It's our job to get involved. Is it easy? No. But when has doing the right thing is seldom easy. When has it ever been easy? It's not. It's difficult. It's very difficult. But how can we just continue to let this happen?
and CPS was involved.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, love that, right?
they took information to this judge
Mm-hmm.
who disregarded it.
So
I'm gathering.
right. And for the record, like, I've seen CPS do amazing, incredible things. My daughter, who's now adopted, everyone involved with her, I'm sorry, incredible, extraordinary. They're not all cut the same way. I also live in a different county than Stephanie Russell. She's in Jefferson County, which is the biggest county in Louisville. Corruption breeds deep, deep, deep inside some of these big cities, and definitely inside Louisville. I don't think anyone would argue with that. CPS there, not a great thing. And you kind of wonder, right? It just makes your mind wonder. We have 2 children that don't belong to a certain gentleman that has now full custody of them. And these children have disclosed abuse to multiple people. Nobody's caring. Nobody is listening. At the same time, we're hearing about all these children that are trafficked, right? And I'm not saying that they are, but I'm saying, it's concerning. We always talk about these children that are being trafficked, and we have this in front of us and everyone's looking the other way. Hey, if you really want to be on the forefront and you're really concerned about children that are trafficked and abused and you're being quiet, then you're the problem, right? So these media outlets are so big to be like, oh, it was all Stephanie Russell. No, maybe look a little bit deeper. I am so proud of you, Maryann, because you are so brave. You are so brave to hear the other side of the story. There's 2 sides to the story.
Always.
Right now, his lawyers are painting the narrative that everyone is reading, but it is not what is actually going on. And I want every journalist to do the right thing, just like you are, Maryann, doing the right thing and getting the whole story. But the fake news media doesn't do that. They give you the narrative and they run with it. They run with the BS. And that's why this country is the way it is, because we're being fed BS 24/7. This woman is a good woman. What she did was wrong? Yes, what she did was wrong. Can you understand it? Any mother could. Any mother could.
I was trying to get some of the other mothers to respond to me off that Facebook page. No one's contacting me. I don't know. Apparently, they are that afraid of Judge Denise Brown.
They're terrified because right now their case is hanging in the balance as well. And, they're probably on the brink of who knows what, right?
Right.
They're terrified. And you know what? They should be.
Don't you think the FBI, who did catch her in this act,
Yeah.
shouldn't they also look into the source, the complete case, the judicial orders, what was really going on?
Right. And, I can't say for a matter of fact, but what I have heard is that the FBI Children's Crimes Unit is now investigating, and they should. And I think, I hope that we see justice in the end, because I just can't imagine. I just can't imagine in the United States of America that this second rate justice system is going to, uphold Stephanie as a guilty criminal when she's not. This is a fearless mother who's cared for so many children. So many people loved her, that she was such a loved pediatrician. It's not like she's a bad person. It's just, this is incredible to me. It's sickening. It makes me so mad. And
Yes,
I news on it because it's such BS.
she had a beautiful practice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she was much loved by all her patients.
Very loved. Yeah.
I just, I'm glad I got to talk to her the times I did.
Yeah. Well,
I had said, let God deal with these people.
absolutely. And, my message to Stephanie tomorrow is going to be, hey, listen, I understand that you probably feel hopeless, and she doesn't know about any of the media. She doesn't know about any of this. And letting her know there are people behind you, and whether you like it or not, I mean, if worst case scenario, you get 10 years in prison, the door is going to blow in 10 years, whether you like it or not. You're going to have to leave. You can't stay there even if you want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to go. And when you do, in the meantime, you need to write a book. You need to do those things. You need to make sure that your story gets out, because you are going to represent somebody who survived.
Mm-hmm.
And you're needed, because there's other men and women who are going to be in the situation, and they are going to need somebody like you that has been through absolute hell, that's been painted in a horrible light, even though it's not true. And they're going to need that fighter. And that's
Mm-hmm.
going to be you. And your children are going to know that what was their mother was, there was nothing she wasn't willing to do.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing. She didn't care anymore. There was nothing she wasn't willing to do. I never would have thought Stephanie would have done this. There was, I don't know if it was 3 weeks or a month ago, she had called me and was just, it was late at night, and I was in, the last leg of my congressional race. And I took the call, and she's just crying. She said she wanted to die. And I just prayed with her on the phone and said, Jesus loves you. I love you. So many people love you. I know this is not fair, but you're going to get through it. This needs to go to an appeals court. The appeals, all they look for is error. And there's a lot of error here. And you need to remember that. That's always my message to her was, get out of that courtroom, take it to appeals. All appeals does is look for error. They're not going to retry this case. They're just going to look for an error. And there's so many errors.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm sad. That this all happened the way it did, because it's not, I just wanted it to go to appeals court and for everything to be undone. That's what I wanted.
It just, she and I had talked. I had tried to give her resources.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's right. That gave her your name, and I was like, you need to call Maryann Petri. She fights for people.
Yeah, and she had mentioned this happening. Maybe doing something like this, and I said, "Don't do it. Let God deal with this." I told her, I said, "Believe me, I'm so mad at my grandfather for not joining the mafia when he had the chance."
Oh, she is.
And I said, "This would have solved a lot of my problems."
Oh
but
my gosh.
but
Well,
I said, "But now we can't go down that
no,
path because it just doesn't work."
no. I
Um,
was going to take her own life. she had never mentioned doing anything extraordinary to me, but I was very concerned she was going to take her own life. But these moms and dads who are living in these hell courtroom. I mean, it's just like a torture chamber. It may as well be.
Right.
What's worse than your children suffer or knowing that you can't be with them? I mean, what's worse than that? I don't think there's anything worse than that.
And this is why they should be abolished. They should abolish family court, abolish CPS, and start over.
I mean, there needs to be some sort of checks and balances, and there allegedly is, but there's not, right? Like, you can go through 300 bureaucratic agencies, and there's a check and balance system somewhere in the midst. Like, no, there's not. There really isn't. There really isn't anyone to hold the judge accountable. You can go to the Bar Association. Nothing ever happens. You can file a complaint. Nothing ever happens. Nothing. I need something to actually happen. I need results. Right. I am results driven. I'm not one for bureaucracy. I hate it. I just want to see results. And if you can't give them to me, then your organization is bullshit. Am I allowed to say that?
Oh, yes. In fact, I've made complaints on judges and attorneys, and it always comes back that it's just not unethical enough.
It's not enough. What is enough? What is enough? It's never enough. It needs to be completely revamped. Someone's going to have to give a crap. None of these people have a conscience. None of them. It's just like politics. Listen, if you want to be in politics, you got to do two things. You've got to be willing to take corporate money, and you've got to be willing to sleep with people. And if you're not willing to do either, then you're not going to make it. If you're willing to do both, man, take a look at DC. Take a look at DC.
Right.
Because they've all done both of them. Take a look at your justice system, because it's not dealt in what is right. It's dealt with backroom deals. It's dealt in money. There's a price tag attached to these cases. There's a favor. There's a donation to their campaign attached to this. It's not what was right for this mother. There is no justice. There is no justice. These are backroom deals, favors. How can you scratch my back? Now we have a mom sitting in solitary confinement without a toilet, right? How is that fair? How is that fair? And if you're not mad for her, it's just disgusting. And it just makes me run with that. It is fake news. It's all BS, and you're only told what you're supposed to hear. I think that's the takeaway. You only know what you're supposed to hear. You're not supposed to know anything else.
Well, that's true, because it's the media is biased.
Oh, yeah. So you have the media that's biased in this case, right? And then you have a judge that is completely biased. Let me tell you how screwed up this judge is, okay? So, again, work in foster care. Well, I don't work. I mean, I was a foster parent. In foster care, right, in that world, there is an agency called CASA. CASA, they're volunteers. They're background checked, and they advocate for children. When I got my baby from NICU, CASA was up in the NICU before I got there, and just holding my sweet little baby who's now my daughter. So I have known my CASA for 2.5 years now, since I've had my baby. Okay, they don't live far from me. I had told them about what was going on with Stephanie. They wanted to be her, the people that, why am I not thinking of the word right now? They wanted to be the supervisor that watched her when she had her kids. They weren't going to do it under CASA, because CASA doesn't get involved with those cases, but just as somebody who's trained, background checked, had been doing this a long time, the judge said no, would not allow this, they're an older couple, right? They're in their 70s, would not allow them to even be the safety monitor. It had to be court appointed. And the court appointees are all incredibly biased. I mean, after the sheriff went and told what this little child said, from then on, they chose who was going to be the monitor.
And then Stephanie had to pay this monitor a couple $100 an hour to see her kids. On
to see
top
her.
of paying. Yeah, and on top of paying this ex child support.
Yeah, for kids that she doesn't get to see. And on top of her lawyer bill, which I'm sure is astronomical, on top of everything else. I mean, this woman
Yeah.
is just.
And these aren't his kids. These are
These are
flat out not his kids.
the one that gets me is the youngest. She was already divorced. Okay, so she's completely divorced, has this baby, and then that baby has her last name, not even related, right, to her ex-husband, because this is a sperm donor, and he still gets these children.
Well,
On what
Stephanie,
planet?
Stephanie also told me that the judge ordered that she put the father's name on the birth certificate.
Which I really don't think that was a wise move. I would have just never done that. I don't know how they can make her do that.
Well, like, I don't know. And I said, how can they make you give him your retirement? I mean, really, how? She says she can do it. She can do it. I said, I don't know if she can. I said, did you talk to financial advisors? She said, they said she can.
And let's keep in mind, Stephanie has no family. Nobody. She has zero family. Usually, lean on family members and cousins. And she has no one, guys. She has absolutely no one. And she called me crying, says that nobody cares, Claire. Nobody cares. What am I supposed to do? Nobody cares about me. And I think that she thought I had more power than it. I'm like, listen, I have zero power. I have like less power than your average person.
Oh.
I can hear you though. I can hear you. And, everyone that I could contact, I did, but I have no power. And all we can do is make her voice heard. And of course, now the media is involved and they care, right? Because we had tried to reach out to media and let them know what's happening in Judge Brown's courtroom. Wouldn't take it. Now it's the front page of the New York Times. And, the Fox Nation has this. And now everybody cares. Now there's lawyers coming out of God knows where to try to represent her. Where were people then? Where were people when she was, and now they,
Suffering.
of course, profit off of her,
off
of her misery.
And, I would say if the FBI is really going to do anything, they need to go into the source and look at the judges, everything, transcripts, everything this judge was doing. And they also need to look at everybody else's case and see the pattern of what Judge Denise Brown is really doing to these mothers and probably some dads too.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, if the FBI wants to prove that they're not corrupt and actually give a crap, then I would love to see them do something about this. I would love to just do the right thing, not because of you owe somebody something, but because it's the right thing to do. Because at the end, we're all going to have to meet our maker, and you're going to have to go before God too. And are you going to be comfortable knowing that you took a bribe or a backroom deal and sacrificed 2 young children and a mother who didn't deserve this? Are you going to feel good about that? Just do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, not because there's in it for you.
I had read somewhere, of course, here it is, the media, but they said that she attempted to try hiring a hitman prior to this. I don't know if that's true.
I don't know if that's true or not either. And
Because I'm thinking, wait a minute, if that was the case, then she would have been in prison
a long
then.
time. Yeah, I don't know. I keep hearing things. I'm like, I've never heard that though. Like somebody said that she was in court, found she was like trying to have the kids rehearse whatever. I'm like, okay, no, that's a complete fabricate. That cannot be true. If you listen to the audio, and I just have one of the audio, there's so many audios. If you listen to it, I have children the same age. There's no way. There's no way. That's like, it's gut wrenching. Like the kid, if that's true, that kid deserves an Emmy. And it's simply not true. I bet the sheriff who wrote all that down, I can guarantee you he knows that that's not fact. That's real. You can't get a little kid. I can't even get my kid to say the alphabet. Like he can't remember anything. You're going to tell me that they fabricated a story? No, absolutely not. That's not true. Kids can't cry on demand. like that and turn it off and turn it on. It's coming from his heart, and he's scared, and no one will care. And if people aren't upset about, and it's not even Stephanie, what's happening to Stephanie is horrible. The bigger issue here is the children.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're going to continue to be abused. That's the bigger issue. If you don't want to, Stephanie is what she is, but what about these children?
Mm-hmm. You know, it's sad. It's pathetic. She snapped. I know other parents have snapped, been driven to suicide. I probably should have announced a trigger warning when I started the podcast, but people are already reading about this in the national news.
Mm-hmm.
And this woman does not deserve, there's two sides to every coin. I'm the type, I don't believe everything I hear. I gotta investigate it.
Yeah, you do. You just have to. You just have to. And I think if this year has taught me anything, is that you just can't believe everything. You just can't believe everything you read. You've got to do your own research, and talk to people that have been on the ground firsthand. You're like first, not third-hand witnesses. You need firsthand people. I mean, I will briefly touch on another case that Judge Brown was involved with. This is also a successful mother, also a doctor. The judge held her in contempt of court because when she went to drop her child off with the father, the child would not get out of the car because they didn't want to be around the dad. They were afraid, did not want to be, was screaming, wouldn't get out of the car. They had to call the police. The police were like, there's nothing we can do. The kid would not. So the mom was like, I'm not going to physically remove the child. Like, no, they don't want to go with you. The court, they went back to court. The judge, I think, put her in jail, if I'm not mistaken. Do you know this case?
Yes, I've heard it. Yes.
I think she was in jail for a couple days, and losing custody of the kid. I mean, it's just, this is par for the course for this judge.
Yeah, it's out of control.
Sick.
Even the TikToks are out of control. I'm sorry.
You're a judge who's taking kids away right and left, and you're making makeup videos like zero. I mean, talk about out of touch, shall we?
I guess she's on Instagram as well.
You know what I want so bad? I want normal, everyday people to start running for office and get rid of all of these lousy pieces of crap. I mean, from your judges to your clerks to your congressmen, if you are voting for these people, let me just tell you, they're not good because they send you a Christmas card and come and kiss a couple babies. None of these people are good. None of them. And if people knew how intrinsically evil they are, even if they occasionally vote for the things that you like, these are bad people. There's so many good people. Why not? Like, here's an idea. Like, why not just elect all new people? If you see a different name on the ballot, vote for them.
Yeah.
Because we could get rid of some of these judges. We can get rid of some of this corruption. And everyone wants change. But they're like, well, but it's not my judge. It's not my congressman. It's not my mayor. It's not. Yes, it is. It is. It's all of them.
It's all this bias and collusion and conflict of interest in these courthouses. And even in my case, my ex's wife worked in the courthouse, where she told me, I know a lot of people in the courthouse and I'm friends with all the judges. Okay, boom. The FBI needs to go and clear out these courthouses. They need to clean house. There's way too much going on. And everything, and I look back, it's like, well, this was all for nothing. Nothing.
It was all, and it's on your dime, right? We, the citizens, it's on these lawyers we're paying an arm and a leg for. Let me tell you what I just found out today. The lawyer, Stephanie had one of the lawyers, the first lawyer, I think, wait, don't quote me because I don't know which lawyer it was, had met, I don't know, there was some backroom politics with this lawyer and the judge. And the judge did not like her lawyer because something that happened previously. So Stephanie then became a target because this lawyer and this judge have some bad water, some bad blood. And it's not water under the bridge. It's just some bad blood. Okay, that's great. But now Stephanie became, a huge target for this judge because of bad blood. This is why there needs to be turnover. This should not happen. It's all politics, right? That's why they say it's all politics. Yeah, it is. People are losing their children because it's all politics. These judges and lawyers. Ugh.
And I think the attorneys are fueling they're fanning the flames with a parent that, maybe going after custody when they could be standing back saying, wait a minute, this situation doesn't have to be this bad. Let's just mediate with the other side, and this doesn't have to happen. But they want the money, so this is why. And with Stephanie paying him child support on kids that aren't even his.
Not even his. And he can't. I'm sorry. That's the part. Like, I mean, there's so many parts, right? But they're not even his kids. Where's the media on that one? I'm sorry. Did anyone know that those aren't his kids? No. Where's the media on that one? Does anyone releasing the audio of these children saying what they said? No. Where's the other side of the story? Doesn't exist, because we hear the narrative only of the dad's attorney. The dad's attorney gets to paint the narrative for this entire thing. This entire thing. That's the only side the judge will hear.
And apparently he behaved that way in the courtroom from what she was telling me as well.
Oh my gosh. I've seen videos of her courtroom. And not of Stephanie's case. Sorry. It was the mother who was held in attempt of court and then went to jail because her kid wouldn't get out of the car to switch parents because she didn't want to. It is so gross. I mean, it was so bad in that courtroom with the other mother, and that the father's attorney was like, I'm sorry, what could have she done differently? So the other attorney started defending the previous side. It was like, I'm sorry, what could she have done differently in that case? What could have, everyone was kind of looking at each other like, what is this? What is she doing? I mean, it's crazy. And Stephanie's been threatened too. Stephanie's been threatened. I mean, did she talk to you about how she's been threatened?
She did mention this, yes.
She's had notes placed on her car, horrible things. She's been threatened. And, I'm sorry. She has no family. She lost her children. How would you feel? What would you, like, what would you do at this point? What do you do? Who do you call when you've try to reach out to everyone and no one will help you?
I so wish she would have called me before all of this took place.
Me too.
This is not the way to go.
Yep. So you just don't know what people are going through sometimes, and can't be quick to judge and quick to love and stand up for those that need it, right? You need to give a voice to the voiceless, and Maryann is great for that. She always gives a voice to those that don't have a voice or feel like they've been so beaten down by the system. And it's going to take people like Maryann to continue doing what they're doing and fight and stand up for the person that is being barotted, because it's, there's two sides to every story.
I just, talking to her on the phone, it's like I could believe what I was hearing. I could. Any other person listening to this story or our stories would be like, no, that can't happen. Well, it can happen until it happens to you.
Until it happens to you. Everything's fine until it ends up in your lap, and then you wonder, man. But until we all do something differently, this will continue to happen, right? We keep the same judges. And that was my question too, was like, why didn't we get rid of Judge Brown? We just had an election. Why didn't we work to find somebody to run against her? And I was obviously really busy with my own race, but people just need to know, and the media is not going to tell you. And the worst media is local media, man. Oh man, local media is so biased. That is the worst media. The worst.
Well, I also think, and it's just my inkling, but I think the judges also control that media as well.
They have to, or they're threatened, or or something's wrong. Something is definitely amiss. So fake news. We need
Mhm.
we need real news organizations. I think that we should all just start listening to podcasts because that's the most real news. They're going to give you both sides.
Mhm.
Not their job to, news anchor's job to give you their opinion. It's their job to just only, work in the facts and ask questions. I would have appreciated if local news would have been like, there's more to the story. We need to get
Mhm.
the other. Is anyone concerned that only the father's lawyer has been quoted or, been asked for question?
Yes.
Their side has been asked for a quote or an opinion or nothing. And we're just okay with that.
I was telling you the story when we talked on Saturday that
Mm-hmm.
there was a case where this woman hired an old man who had cancer, and she wanted to bump off her
Oh,
ex-husband.
geez. This is not the right about things, y'all.
Well, and he did it, and the police could not pin this on her. But the thing was the old guy went to prison,
Yeah,
and, but the thing is, it's like so a lot of these cases don't work out this way. This is not the way to go.
you can't. No, I mean, unfortunately, you have to work through the justice system, and all we can do is go about things. Let's not be crooked like them, okay, guys? Like, you have to go about it the right way, even though
Mm,
it's difficult. You have to start electing new people, and you can. I was very much depending on the appeals court.
mhm.
The proper way to go about things. You can't be killing people. You can't be
No, no. Yeah, and I know she was like,
that.
we're all frustrated how long the appeals system takes. It
It does
takes,
forever.
yeah, 8 to 9 months
No,
maximum.
it's wretched. And my advice to her was get out of that, stop contesting everything and get out of that court. The
Mhm,
longer you contest stuff, they're not going to change their mind. Like,
mhm,
I can tell you how this is going to go right now. She's going to give it all the custody away. Be done with it and move on. You'd be 3 months into the appeals process and, waiting in line for the appellate court had you
mhm.
just gotten out of the courtroom. I mean, so there are takeaways from this for sure. Pay more attention to your judges races, guys. There's a lot going on there, especially in these big cities.
Mhm. Well, people also don't know who they're voting for or what they're voting for because they've never set foot into these family courtrooms to watch the shenanigans.
It would be better not to vote than to vote for somebody you don't know.
Mhm,
Okay. Like, just if you don't know who's on the ballot, then only vote for the people you know that are on the ballot. If you don't know somebody, I don't know that judge, then don't vote.
mhm.
Don't don't play eeny meeny miny mo. Just don't, because you don't know what the background is.
Right. Um, well, I'm so glad I had you on. Is there anything you'd like to add? Because I know we're going to do a follow-up podcast. I know that's
We
coming.
will. We will. I know national news has definitely got a hold of this. My thing is go to the source to ask questions. Um, don't believe everything you hear on the news because it's a lie. Um, I mean, at least 50% of it's a lie.
Mhm,
Stephanie is one of many. She's
mhm.
not in this battle, and just be praying for her because just put yourself in her shoes before you judge somebody. Just put yourself in their shoes, and it's awful. It's nothing to laugh at.
Mhm.
It's horrendous.
Yeah, and our prayers are with her. So
Mm-hmm.
I will have you back on. Don't jump off. Slam the Gavel's a podcast to help the public understand what really goes on in these family courtrooms. I'm your host, Maryann Petri, author of Dismantling Family Court Corruption, Why Taking the Kids Was Not Enough, and Cry Out for Justice, Poems of Truth, and the future book, Raised by Wolves. Please join us again here with Claire Wirth in the future and other exciting guests. Thank you, Claire.
Thank you.